Ah, Igor, you've arrived, just in time. The night is ripe for our ghastly work. The masses cry out for Classic Plus, but they know not what they want. They think they want new zones, new raids, new content. But Blizzard, meanwhile, thinks we want a list of trodden retail features discarded off the scrap heap and brought back. What we really need is to go back to the original vision, resurrect the dead, and bring the classic vision from the original developers that we truly deserve. Tonight we shall build the perfect monster of Classic Plus, the perfect Classic Plus, resurrected from abandoned features of the past. Fetch me my list, Igor. It's time to work. All right, Dr. Frankenstein, here is the list of all the forgotten organs and pieces and parts that we shall build the magnificent Classic Plus creation from. First, we have the brain, the what could have been, the alpha, the beta features that were scrapped. These are the original thoughts, the ideas, the thinking that the original devs had, but were lobotomized long before the game ever came out. We shall grant them life! First, we have survival skills, a brand new profession. This originally did exist for torches, for campfires, for lighting. Imagine needing a torch to see in the deepest, the darkest caves in the entire game. Imagine the darkness of Duskwood being lit up by your own torch that you crafted yourself. Campfires, now a simple boring click, would be a new sanctuary, using wood and flint to build yourself a safe haven. I love it, Igor. It's not just a chore, it's immersion. Adding survival skills could make the world feel completely different, dangerous. It would also make preparation a key part of any adventure. You'd have to prepare long before you went out. A simple, enriching skill that would make exploration magnificent. It must be done. Dr. Frankenstein, another that we had is Tauren Plainsrunning. Back in the old days, Taurens could get on all fours like this, and they would run super fast, and they would speed up as they ran. It was freaking awesome. They didn't even need a mount. It was way cooler than Kodos. It was pure racial fantasy. This gives races a unique flavor, and it makes picking a race, picking a class, that much more meaningful. The RPG elements are magnificent. It's exactly what vanilla WoW was so well known for, and what has been so clearly missing from later MMOs and even retail WoW as well. Don't forget undead speaking common as well. This was another beta feature. The Forsaken could actually communicate with the Alliance. The RP potential, the story potential, the cross-faction trickery. It's amazing. It must return for Classic Plus. It simply must. Not only does this deepen the lore of the Forsaken as this profoundly tragic race, but it's just freaking cool. It's the kind of thing people talked about. They bragged about vanilla WoW back in the day, and the kind of thing that is sorely missing. It clearly would open up role-playing and social situations that would otherwise never take place. The Forsaken would suddenly have so much new potential as the translators of the Horde. Next, we have the Heart, the unbeating pulse of faction and server identity. The original heart of the game was the server community. Cross-realm, cross-faction homogenization, it has been the silver bullet that has really wounded the community feeling. We shall give it a transplant. First, everybody's saying Alliance Shamans, Horde Paladins, but no. We need faction-specific classes, because if you're going to have a true Classic Plus that really builds on the original conflict, there has to be this foundation of the two factions not being exactly the same. The original vision of the game, the holy light of the Paladins versus the elemental fury of the Shamans, it cannot be disturbed. This is the ultimate form of faction identity. It makes Horde and Alliance distinctly different. It's not just a cosmetic like it is in retail. We're talking about real, game-defining decisions that you have to make very early on. We're defining the core fantasy of each side, something that has clearly been lost over time. Next, we have the original PvP honor system. The original grind, brutal, horrifying, and the only grind that truly created legends. You knew exactly who was a High Warlord. You knew exactly who was a Grand Marshal. Every single person on the server that had those ranks, it really mattered. It was a full-time job, but it also gave you power and prestige that MMOs are all about, and it's something that we are sorely lacking today. While the grind itself was notoriously difficult, you know what we had? We had something meaningful. The concept of this server-based, reputation-based PvP system where everybody knew everybody, and it had heroes, and it had villains, and it had all these things that we simply do not have anymore. Having a purpose and reason for PvPing other than just ganking and griefing as well, it seems like a no-brainer. Classic Plus needs to have that original ranking system. We also can't forget the limbs, the true power of uniqueness. Any monster should have truly terrifying, unique, horrifying limbs. And that is where the class balancing comes in. Every class must feel unique and special and different and never homogenized. We can't just have the same heal, the same DPS, the same tank. It's not gonna work. It doesn't feel classic. First, unique priest racial abilities. In vanilla, a Dwarf's Fear Ward, it was an absolute game changer. Onyxia, no problem. But then the Undead Priest, they had the trade-off. They had the insanely strong Devouring Plague, which made them much better for soloing things, for 1v1ing people, for destroying in the open world. In the later versions of WoW, all of this was removed, and in Season of Discovery, they essentially made it so everybody could have any priest racial. We need to not only bring back that diversity, but build on it, because that is a huge strength of vanilla WoW. Having your race be such a strategic decision and such an important decision is a core part of vanilla. Everybody is going to have that decision to make, and everybody will have different reasons. Maybe there's flavor reasons, maybe there's lore reasons, but ultimately it's going to matter so much more. If you play a Dwarf Priest, you have distinctly different abilities and assets compared to, say, an Undead Priest. We also need to bring back the original 40-man raid size. This was a cornerstone of the vanilla endgame. But, of course, versions like Season of Discovery and inevitably Classic Plus will probably be reduced to 25 players. The fact of the matter is, though, that vanilla raiding is always going to be unique because of the 40-player raid size. Nothing screams unique like having to wrangle and get 40 players together to conquer an epic dragon or an insane boss. It's not about just the 40-player number. It's about necessitating these large groups, these giant friend groups and social circles, and everybody is on the same page, working together to have a shared goal, fostering friendships and communities, otherwise completely lost. BFD in Season of Discovery, yeah, it was a lot of fun, but I think that organized chaos, that beautiful chaos, is what Classic really, really needs. We also have the sinews. We need to connect the world with meaningful obstacles. Our monster cannot be a flailing beast. No. It needs sinews to connect the parts. In WoW, that of course means reasons to explore and to interact with the world. One thing we need to bring back are epic, world-defining attunement quests. Yes, the Onyxia quest. Some people hate it, but you know what it did? It brought everybody across multiple continents. It brought you to that 4 different dragons, half a dozen different dungeons and bosses, and it took you on a story. By the end of it, the world felt that much more alive. It felt like a thriving world, an ecosystem, instead of just a series of hubs, which is how modern WoW feels. This provides context, and also a sense of accomplishment too. You don't just walk into a raid, you earn the right to be there. It makes the world feel cohesive, and lore and storytelling come together. Everybody knows the story of Onyxia. How many people know the story of the modern retail raids? Nobody. Exactly. To keep building on that world, we also need to get back to the necessity for keys. Now, having a key to enter BRD or Upper Blackrock Spire, knowing the guy who can open the door for you, how cool is that? Or being the guy who can open the door. It adds a lot to these dungeons. It makes them feel that much more alive. Key quests are just a core part of vanilla, and really no other part of the game. Having keys, it encourages social networking. You gotta know that rogue, you gotta know that guy with the key, so you can actually do your dungeon or your raid, and it makes things feel that much more meaningful. A dungeon becomes mysterious and exciting and exotic and scary. It's also giving us that tangible sense of progression, which really just feels so good. There, Igor, behold our new creation. It may seem inconvenient, tedious, monstrous to the modern player. They'll scoff at the need for torches and long journeys for attunements and brutal PvP grinds. But they are blind. This creature is not built for convenience. It is built for immersion, for world building, for lore, for storytelling. It is a world, not a lobby. Every flaw is a feature, and every chore is an adventure waiting to happen with an epic reward at the end of it. It forces you to prepare, to specialize, to explore. Now throw that switch. It's alive!